What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman for Awesemo.com, and I am back with my NBA DFS contenders for Monday, April 12th on DraftKings. Now be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman so you can get updates to these sim results as we get closer to lock. And finally, let me know in the comments section who is your favorite and least favorite of my contenders for today's slate. We're rounding out the bottom of my top 10 with Christian Wood, Joe Harris, Royce O'Neal, Bojan Bogdanovic, and NIKOLA Jokic, the greatest offensive center in basketball. Who will be my favorites, my top 5 plays for today? It is time to find out. First up, at number 5, we're going to point guard, shooting guard eligible Bruce Brown. He is 4,800, projected for 28. The goal is 38. He's in the optimal lineup 23% of the time. Nets are going to be without James Harden. They're going to be without Kyrie Irving. They're going to be without LaMarcus Aldridge. So Bruce Brown's going to play some minutes, and they kind of need some guard type minutes. I've got him in for 30.94 fantasy points per minute. Lower usage, 17%, but does a little bit of everything. 13 points, 6 boards, 3 assists, a steal, kind of a block. But the big piece of this, clear across the board. Obviously, the minutes are helpful. They get to take on Minnesota. So they gain 3 possessions over their average. So awesome pace up spot. And Minnesota stinks. They're not good defensively at all. So this matchup is perfect for Brooklyn. They check off every single box, including having guys being out, giving out additional minutes to make this even a better spot. So I love Bruce Brown. As you can see, Joe Harris coming in at number 9. Not my only net, and we'll have another one to talk about at least. So Bruce Brown, dual eligibility, number 5. Next up at number 4, we're going to shooting guard, small forward eligible Joe Ingles, my second Joe of the day. 5,700 on DK, 33.5 fantasy point projection, 42-point goal, optimal lineup 26% of the time. You guys know I love the shooting guard, small forward eligibility. You get shooting guard, small forward, guard forward, and utility, 5 of the 8 roster spots. And for the Jazz, no Mike Conley, no Jordan Clarkson, which means extra ball handling duty for Joe Ingles. Got him in for 34 minutes. 0.99 fantasy points per minute. That's a big time boost over his normal rates. 15 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds, a steal. Not really blocking any shots, but this is the big piece of it all. The no-brainer play of the day here. They're taking on the Washington Wizards. The Jazz will gain 4.5 possessions over their average. This is as good of a pace-up spot as you're going to find, and it's not a particularly good defense. All signs point to getting to a lot of Jazz. That's why you see Bojan Bogdanovic on this list. That's why you see Royce O'Neal on this list. You will see another Jazz guy on this list. It's time to unload on the Jazz. With guys out and in a pace-up spot, normally I don't play a lot of Jazz guys at all. Today, it's time to play all of them. Speaking of Jazz guys, point guard, shooting guard eligible Donovan Mitchell coming into the number 3 spot, 9,200, projected for 51. The goal is 54. He's in the optimal lineup 27% of the time. Everything that I just explained for Joe Ingles is the same for Donovan Mitchell. 2 guys out, no Clarkson, no Conley. Increased everything, usage rate, assist rate, it all points better. 35 minutes, 1.46 DraftKings points per minute, 34% usage, 30 real points, 8 assists, 4.5 boards, a steal, and the exact same perfect pace-up, bad defense spot against the Washington Wizards. Paying up for Donovan Mitchell is an absolute no-brainer. Cash game lock all day. GPP lock all day. Now, I don't mean lock like you play him in 100% of 150 lineups or something like that, but you know what I'm saying here. He is an amazing play. No matter what news comes out today, Donovan Mitchell, other than Donovan Mitchell not being in the game, Donovan Mitchell will be a top 10 play and likely a top 5 play all day. We're closing this one out with a little bit of value. Number 2, center eligible Nick Claxton, just 3,100, projected for 24. The goal is 33, optimal lineup 30% of the time. Now, I'm a little nervous about this one because I don't know what his minutes will totally be, but we're not going to have LaMarcus Aldridge today. We obviously know that we're without Kyrie and James Harden, so I think Claxton gets a bit of run. The good thing is, there's not a lot of downside. He's only $100 above the minimum, 3,100 for Claxton. I gave him 22 minutes. I think it's feasible that he plays more than that. It just all depends on if they dust off DeAndre Jordan again. So 1.1 fantasy points per minute, 10 points, 6 boards, 2 stocks, and again, a pace-up spot against a terrible Minnesota defense that gained 3 possessions here. I love being able to save money on Nick Claxton. If we find out that he is starting, I'll feel a lot more comfortable with a 22-minute projection. I'll probably even go slightly higher. I assume he'll be popular today, so keep your eye on it. Looks like a really nice cash game option, although the top end of center is pretty loaded. Keep your eyes on it. But if Nick Claxton's projected for 22 minutes as a 1.1 fantasy point per minute guy, this is a value play you will need. Now, before we get to that number one contender, one last reminder to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Then head on over to Twitter, follow me, at Josh Engleman, so you can get updates to these sim results as we get closer to lock. And then finally, let me know in the comments section who is your favorite and least favorite contender. And if you have a contender that isn't on my list, let me know who it is. I need to know what I'm missing, people. Help me out here. And finally, the number one contender for today, point guard eligible Chris CHIOZZA. He is the flat minimum 3K, projected for 25.5. The goal's 32.5. Optimal lineup 40% of the time. This is a question mark, though, for me. The Nets don't really have a legitimate point guard. Chris CHIOZZA is the only guy that really fits that bill. I'm thinking that he's going to get some run today. I gave him 24 minutes. He could just as easily play 16. I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that he plays 28 either. It's going to be up in the air. Keep a close eye on the starting lineup. If he's in the starting lineup, this one becomes an absolute no-brainer. But for right now, I'm assuming Chris CHIOZZA plays 24 minutes since they are without Harden, without Kyrie, without LaMarcus Aldridge. Somebody else is out. I can't remember off the top of my head. Not important. Those three guys are way more important. We're talking about north of a fantasy point per minute for CHIOZZA. Neutral usage, 19%. 10 points, 6 assists, 3 boards. He could get a steal. And again, it's this same awesome matchup against Minnesota. Bad defense, pace up spot. And you get Chris CHIOZZA at the literal flat min. There's basically no downside here. Even if he does get to like 16 minutes, he could just have like an outlier shooting performance and still get you to value in that time. That's what's really crazy here. To me, he's very, very difficult to avoid. And if we find out that he is starting, lock and load. But right now, Chris CHIOZZA is the number one contender on DraftKings. Alrighty, folks, that will do it. Those are my NBA DFS contenders on DraftKings for Monday, April 12th. I have already recorded the FanDuel version of this show. Click on that. Process show is in the books. We did that at 6:30 a.m. Go back and watch that. We'll be on the strategy show, 10 a.m. with Lofty, breaking down all 9 games for today's slate. And then I'll be back on Live Before Lock tonight with Eric Lindquist from 6:30 to 7:30, breaking it all down just before lock. Gotta love it. Thank you guys for joining me. I needed a deep breath there. I felt like I said a lot of words. Anyway, good luck tonight, everybody. I will talk to you guys again tomorrow for another edition of the Contenders.